travel back to the spellbinding world of Charmed and discover the incredible journeys of its 1998 cast in 2025. Piper Halliwell, played by Holly Marie Combs, was Charmed's heart. At 24 in 1998, Holly brought depth to Piper's time-freezing and explosive powers, growing from shy chef to fierce matriarch. A picket fences alum, she anchored the sisters. Interesting fact, Holly produced later seasons, shaping the show. Her romance with Leo captivated fans over 8 seasons. In 2025, Holly Marie Combs, now 51, hosts The House of Halliwell, a hit Charmed rewatch podcast with Alyssa Milano and Brian Krause. After Pretty Little Liars, she embraced podcasting. Married to Mike Ryan, mom to 3 sons, Holly shines. Interesting fact, her podcast topped charts in 2024. Prue Halliwell, portrayed by Shannen Doherty, was Charmed's fierce eldest sister. At 27 in 1998, Shannen brought telekinesis and astral projection to life, making Prue a strong leader. Interesting fact, Shannen directed 3 Charmed episodes, showcasing her creative range. Her intense performance drove the show's early success. Shannen Doherty passed away in July 2024 at 53 from breast cancer, leaving a profound legacy. After Charmed, she starred in 90,210 spin-offs and reality shows. Her 2023 podcast, Let's Be Clear, shared candid Charmed stories. Interesting fact, Shannen's courage in documenting her cancer journey inspired millions. Leo Wyatt, played by Brian Krause, was Charmed's devoted white lighter. At 29 in 1998, Brian brought warmth to Leo's protective role, evolving into Piper's soulmate. Appearing in 146 episodes, his heartfelt performance won fans over 8 seasons. Interesting fact, Brian improvised many of Leo's tender moments with Holly Marie Combs, enhancing their chemistry. A lesser-known actor before Charmed, he became a series staple. In 2025, Brian Krause, now 56, stars in films like Peter Pan, Land of Forever and A Witness to Murder. After Charmed, he embraced B-movies such as Breakout. He co-hosts the House of Halliwell podcast, sharing nostalgic tales. Paige Matthews, portrayed by Rose McGowan, joined Charmed in 2001 as the teleporting half-sister. At 28, Rose brought quirky charm to Paige's orbing powers, revitalizing the power of 3. Known for Scream, she made Paige a fan favorite over 5 seasons. Interesting fact, Rose learned Wiccan rituals to authentically portray Paige's witchy side. Her fresh energy helped Charmed thrive post-Prue. In 2025, Rose McGowan, now 51, lives in Tulum, Mexico, focusing on activism and creative projects like an animated dog film. After Charmed, she starred in Grindhouse and wrote Brave, 2018, a Me Too memoir. Interesting fact, her 2018 documentary Citizen Rose spotlighted her advocacy, inspiring global change. Daryl Morris, played by Dorian Gregory, was Charmed's skeptical yet loyal cop. At 27 in 1998, Dorian brought grounded realism to Daryl, evolving from a wary detective to the sisters' trusted ally across 71 episodes. Interesting fact, Dorian's jazz musician background inspired Daryl's cool, composed demeanor, enriching the character. In 2025, Dorian Gregory, now 54, continues acting in indie films and guest roles, including spots on Without a Trace. Post-Charmed, he focused on smaller projects and voice work. Interesting fact, Dorian's 2024 convention Q&A revealed untold Charmed set stories, thrilling longtime fans. Prue Halliwell, portrayed by Shannen Doherty, was Charmed's fierce eldest sister. At 27, Shannen brought telekinesis and astral projection to life, crafting Prue as a bold leader. Interesting fact, Shannen directed 3 Charmed episodes, showcasing her creative vision. Her commanding performance defined the series' early success. Shannen Doherty passed away in July 2024 at 53 from breast cancer, leaving a lasting legacy. Interesting fact, Shannen's public cancer journey inspired countless fans, highlighting her resilience. Cole Turner, played by Julian McMahon, was Charm's complex half-demon. At 30, Julian brought intensity to Cole's struggle between good and evil, captivating fans as Phoebe's lover. An Australian actor and son of a former prime minister, he shone until his 2003 exit. Interesting fact, Julian's natural Aussie accent slipped into Cole's dialogue in early episodes, adding unintended charm. In 2025, Julian McMahon, now 56, continues acting, recently starring in FBI Most Wanted. Post-Charmed, he led Nip/Tuck and appeared in Hunters. Married to Kelly Paniagua since 2014, he balances US and Aussie life. Interesting fact, his 2023 Charmed fan event reunion with Alyssa Milano sparked nostalgic buzz. Chris Halliwell, played by Drew Fuller, was Piper and Leo's time-traveling son in Charmed. At 24 in 2003, Drew brought intensity to Chris's mission to save his family, debuting in Season 5 and appearing in 25 episodes. Interesting fact, Drew's role was initially a guest spot but became a fan-favorite regular due to his chemistry with the cast. In 2025, Drew Fuller, now 45, co-hosts the House of Halliwell podcast, sharing Charmed memories. After starring in Army Wives, he took smaller roles. Interesting fact, his 2024 podcast episodes reignited fan love for Chris's heroics. Chris Halliwell, portrayed by Drew Fuller, was Piper and Leo's fierce son from the future in Charmed. At 24 in 2003, Drew brought grit to Chris's time-traveling quest, appearing in 25 episodes from seasons 5 to 8. A former model, his breakout role won fans with its intensity. Interesting fact, Drew's role expanded from a planned 3-episode arc due to his strong chemistry with Holly Marie Combs. In 2025, Drew Fuller, now 45, co-hosts the House of Halliwell podcast, sharing Charmed nostalgia. Post-Charmed, he led Army Wives and appeared in Longmire. Interesting fact, his 2024 podcast stories about Charm's set pranks went viral among fans. Elise Rothman and Aunt Jackie were brought to life by Rebecca Balding in Charmed. At 50, Rebecca debuted as Aunt Jackie in Season 1's The Fourth Sister, then played Elise, Phoebe's tough newspaper boss, from Seasons 4 to 8, appearing in 22 episodes. A soap alum, her warmth shone through. Interesting fact, Rebecca met her husband, Charmed producer James L. Conway, while auditioning for his film The Boogans. Rebecca Balding passed away in July 2022 at 73 from ovarian cancer, leaving a cherished legacy. Interesting fact, Alyssa Milano praised Rebecca's kindness, recalling their joyful wrap party dances. Billie Jenkins, played by Kaley Cuoco, was Charmed's spirited young witch. At 20 in 2005, Kaley brought energy to Billie's telekinetic powers in Season 8, appearing in 22 episodes. Known for 8 Simple Rules, her role as the sister's protégé added fresh spark. Interesting fact, Kaley's casting came after a chance meeting with Charmed producers at a charity event, leading to her last-minute audition. In 2025, Kaley Cuoco, now 39, thrives as a star and producer. Post-Charmed, she soared in The Big Bang Theory and earned Emmy nods for The Flight Attendant. Interesting fact, her 2024 role in Based on a True Story won critical acclaim, solidifying her comedic reign. Dan Gordon, portrayed by Greg Vaughan, was Charmed's charming neighbor and Piper's love interest. At 25, Greg brought Boy Next Door appeal to Dan in Season 2, appearing in 18 episodes. Interesting fact, Greg's role was written to create a love triangle with Piper and Leo, inspired by his natural charisma during auditions. In 2025, Greg Vaughan, now 51, continues acting, known for Days of Our Lives and Queen Sugar. Post-Charmed, he starred in General Hospital and Hallmark films. Interesting fact, his 2024 Daytime Emmy nomination for Days thrilled Charmed fans, who still adore Dan. Victor Bennett, played by James Reed, was the Hallowell sisters' estranged father in Charmed. At 45, James brought depth to Victor's complex role, appearing in 14 episodes across seasons 1 to 7. A North and South alum, his portrayal of a dad seeking redemption resonated with fans. Interesting fact, James ad-libbed Victor's emotional reunion scene with Prue in Season 1's "Thank You for Not Morphing," adding heartfelt authenticity. In 2025, James Redd, now 71, remains active in TV, recently appearing in NCIS, Los Angeles, and This Is Us. Post-Charmed, he starred in Wildfire and Persons Unknown. Henry Mitchell, portrayed by Ivan Sergei, was Paige's charming parole officer-turned-husband in Charmed. At 34, Ivan brought warmth and grit to Henry in Season 8, appearing in 10 episodes. Interesting fact, Ivan's role was expanded after producers saw his natural rapport with Rose during auditions, crafting a love story inspired by their banter. In 2025, Ivan Sergei, now 53, continues acting, recently starring in NCIS, New Orleans and BH 90210. Post-Charmed, he appeared in Crossing Jordan and Castle. Interesting fact, his 2024 role in a Hallmark mystery film reignited Charmed fans' love for Henry's romantic heroics. Avatar Alpha, played by Joel Swetow, was a menacing villain in Charmed. At 46, Joel brought chilling intensity to the Avatar leader in Season 3's All Hallowell's Eve and later episodes, appearing in 5 episodes total. Interesting fact, Joel's deep voice was so striking that producers kept him uncredited initially to heighten the Avatar's mysterious aura. In 2025, Joel Swetow, now 71, continues acting, recently appearing in The Orville and 911. Post-Charmed, he voiced roles in God of War games and starred in Alias. Interesting fact, his 2024 Star Trek convention panel, discussing his Charmed and Trek roles, drew cheers from fans nostalgic for Alpha's eerie menace. Inspector Sheridan, played by Jenya Lano, was a tenacious police officer in Charmed. At 29, Jenya brought sharp intensity to Sheridan's pursuit of the Hallowell sisters in Season 7, appearing in 6 episodes. Interesting fact, Jenya's martial arts training shaped Sheridan's tough demeanor, with her performing several stunts herself, impressing the Charmed stunt team. In 2025, Jenya Lano, now 50, continues acting, recently appearing in The Rookie and short films like The Audition. Post-Charmed, she starred in Rizzoli and Isles and voiced Star Wars video games. Kyle Brody, played by Kerr Smith, was a determined Homeland Security agent in Charmed. At 32 in 2004, Kerr brought intensity to Kyle's quest against the Avatars and his romance with Paige in Season 7, appearing in 8 episodes. Known for Dawson's Creek, his brooding charm won fans. In 2025, Kerr Smith, now 53, continues acting, recently starring in Riverdale and The Fosters. Post-Charmed, he appeared in CSI, Miami, and Life Unexpected. Interesting fact, his 2024 Dawson's Creek reunion panel sparked Charmed fan buzz, with attendees praising Kyle's heroic sacrifice. Patty Hallowell, portrayed by Finola Hughes, was the Hallowell sisters' loving mother in Charmed. At 38, Finola brought warmth to Patty's ghostly guidance and flashback scenes, appearing in 9 episodes across seasons 1 to 7. Interesting fact, Finola's ballet background inspired Patty's fluid movements in magical scenes, adding a dancer's elegance to her spellcasting. In 2025, Finola Hughes, now 65, continues shining as Anna Devane on General Hospital, earning a 2024 Daytime Emmy nomination. Interesting fact, her 2024 Instagram tribute to Charm's 25th anniversary, sharing set photos, delighted fans nostalgic for Patty's maternal wisdom. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.